Governor John Hickenlooper is looking at whether to dismiss the convictions of up to 40 Coloradans currently incarcerated for nonviolent marijuana-related crimes. The governor's office is reviewing these cases to determine clemency eligibility. Penn, as one of our two esteemed lawyers, you know about the whole thing between clemency and everything else, but let me just ask you this. It's not rare for a lame duck governor to be looking at clemency issues, but for this one with marijuana claims, it feels a little politically tinged. What do you think?
Only a little politically tinged. I applaud the governor for doing this, quite frankly. My personal observation is I wish this would have been done 5 years ago because of what we're dealing with with personal use of marijuana, medicinal use, and the federal overlay. It made sense to clean some of this up quite some time ago and just frankly make a statement. We couldn't make a statement on whether to give life without possibility for parole for the Chuck E. Cheese killer, and we kicked that one down the road. But this one should have been decided sooner to make a statement and start dealing with some of the broader policy issues, because as many of us have observed, this country lost the war on drugs decades ago. And so any vestige of it that remains just doesn't make any sense.
Natasha, do you think Governor Hickenlooper is making a political stand here?
Yes, but it's a pretty safe one in many ways, I think, in particular because they've already sort of looked at this with 7 cases. These cases that they will be addressing are nonviolent. They're about sale and possession, and they're going to take into consideration behavior while in prison as well. So I think that the general audience is going to feel okay about these decisions if that's what they decide to do. But more importantly, San Francisco and San Diego have already done this. So we're not setting new ground here. We're following after others.
Patty, you know the governor very well. What do you think drove him to at least contemplate this decision?
Common sense in this case. I mean, and Seattle just did it too, which is these are crimes that would no longer, in most cases, be considered crimes. They're certainly victimless crimes. In the way they're studying them, they're not going to let out some bad character who's been bad in prison or whose case was not just being caught in Civic Center Park with a joint. So I think it's smart for him to look at it. I think his group will do a good job of making sure anyone who gets an excusable absence deserves it.
David, wrap it up for us. Was this a good move?
A good move, but only a start. We're just talking about people who are currently in prison for marijuana offenses. There is a 1,000 times larger, probably, group of people who have marijuana convictions. They're not in prison now, but these convictions, they might be misdemeanors, they might be down at the offense level, but they're still making it difficult for people to get jobs, a permanent stain on their record, maybe they can't get a security clearance, all kinds of things that are continuing to interfere with their lives for what may have been a conviction, for simple possession 30 years ago. So once we deal with people currently in prison, I think maybe the next governor, or this governor too, ought to go back and start issuing pardons for some of those other offenses.